The Israelite army was scared. Across the battlefield stood Goliath, a giant of a man from Philistia. He was huge. His armor was heavy, his spear was like a tree trunk, and his voice boomed like thunder. Every day, Goliath challenged the Israelites. "Send out your best man," he'd roar. "Let's fight. If he wins, we will be your slaves. But if I win, you will be our slaves." Day after day, the Israelites were paralyzed with fear. No one dared to face the giant. Their hearts were filled with doubt and despair. They felt small and helpless. Far away in Bethlehem, a young shepherd named David was tending his father's sheep. David was a good shepherd. He was brave and strong. He protected his sheep from lions and bears. One day, David's father said, "David, take this food to your brothers in the Israelite army and see how they are doing." David obeyed his father and went to the battlefield. When David arrived at the Israelite camp, he was shocked by what he saw. The soldiers were trembling with fear. David listened as Goliath roared his daily challenge. David was angry. How could this giant defy the living God? David's heart was filled with faith. He believed that God was stronger than any giant. David said, "I will fight this giant." David's brothers were worried. "You're just a boy," they said. "Go back to your sheep." But David was determined. He knew God was with him. King Saul heard about David's courage. He said, "You're just a boy. You can't fight this giant." But David said, "God saved me from lions and bears. God will save me from this giant." David's faith impressed King Saul. Saul said, "Go, and may the Lord be with you." He offered David his armor, but it was too big and heavy. David refused the armor. He would face Goliath with God as his protector. Section 4, Small Stone, Big Victory. David went to a nearby stream and chose 5 smooth stones. He put them in his shepherd's bag. With his sling in hand, he approached the giant. Goliath laughed when he saw David. "Am I a dog," he roared, "that you come at me with sticks? Come here, and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field." David stood firm. He shouted back to Goliath, "You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Today the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I'll strike you down and cut off your head." With a swift motion, David loaded a stone into his sling and hurled it towards Goliath. The stone flew through the air and sank deep into the giant's forehead. Goliath stumbled and fell with a tremendous crash.
Breaking news.
Section 5. Lessons from the battlefield. The Philistines were terrified. They turned and ran. The Israelites, filled with courage, chased after them and won a great victory. David's faith had saved the day. He didn't see the giant. He saw a God who was bigger than any problem. He didn't rely on his own strength. He relied on God's power. The story of David and Goliath is a reminder that even when we face giants in our lives, we can overcome them with faith and courage. We can all be like David, facing our fears and trusting in God's love and protection. Section 6. Faith for today. We all have giants in our lives. They might be fear, doubt, sickness, or loss. They seem big and scary, just like Goliath. But we serve a God who is bigger. When we face our giants with faith, we can overcome them. Just like David, we might be small, but with God on our side, we can do amazing things. The story of David and Goliath is a story for all time. It reminds us that faith is not about our size or strength, but about the size and strength of our God, and that God is always with us, ready to help us overcome any challenge.